I really wanted to come up here and talk to you all. Well, let me backtrack. I've been with ISL for about 5 years, and I've heard some wonderful talks, but I've never heard anybody really talk about something that I think is very close to all of us, that I think are some negative emotions that we all feel as marketers, salespeople, customer service, whatever you want to call us. So I thought, why don't I do it? Because we are all on the same page, so it's like I'm preaching to the choir, so we're all going to relate. So that's it. So that's why I'm up here. Okay, I'm so excited. So what I wanted to speak about was how to choose your inspiration over your fears. And I thought that was a fabulous, lovely title, Love Over Fear. It's just so perfect. But when I was doing research and I was getting ready for this, I kept kind of bumping into some other really crappy emotions that we feel in this field. And they are stress, exhaustion, anxiety. So I thought, I'll put them all together. It's all kind of the same conversation anyway. So my new title is Letting Go of Negative Emotions That Are Not Serving Us. Okay. So, being in a field with such high pressures, it's so easy to lose yourself. And this is a quote that actually, I was listening to a talk that Google was doing, and Rich Fernandez, who is the learning and development team, he said this, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful, because this is so us, right? We operate in a hyper-connected world. We're always on, and we go at it with great pace and intensity. The urgent question of the day is how we can take an intelligent approach to our work and our lives with all of the demands of our time and attention. We need to consciously make an effort to let go of some of the stress and some of the anxiety that we feel. But when we do, we sometimes realize that these are the exact things that we use to define our daily lives. Okay, it's as though in today's culture, our self-worth is tied solely to our net worth. We base our worthiness on our level of productivity. It seems that we've got so much to do with so little time to do it in. The idea of spending some time doing anything that's unrelated to our to-do list actually creates stress and anxiety in us. It doesn't matter what our job is. It doesn't matter if it's running a multi-billion-dollar company, raising children, grandchildren, going to school, creating art, working in senior living. I added that. We've got to keep working. There is no time to play around. And we all know this, guys, but I wanted to just put this in here to bring this up again. Some of the consequences for not getting proper rest are diabetes, heart disease, obesity, depression. Yet, many of us still believe that exhaustion is a status symbol. It's a status symbol of hard work, and that sleep is nothing but a luxury, right? We see people we haven't seen for years, and they're like, oh, how are you? And we're like, oh, so busy, so tired, you know? The same voices inside of us that tell us that we are too busy to play and to waste time are the same voices that we hear telling us, one more hour of work. You can catch up on your sleep this weekend. Napping is for slackers. Push through it. You can handle it, but we can't. So while I was doing some research and I was getting ready for this, I was reading a book by Lynn Twist. It's called The Soul of Money.
Good book.
Yeah?
Awesome
Oh,
book.
good. Okay, really wonderful book, and there was a wonderful passage in it that I actually wanted to share with you all. So I'm going to walk over there to you, Don, too. Can you hear me? Okay. Oops, sorry. Okay. For me and for many of us, our first waking thoughts of the day are, I didn't get enough sleep, or I don't have enough time. Whether true or not, that thought of not enough occurs to us automatically before we even think of questioning or examining it. We spend most of the hours of our daily lives hearing, explaining, complaining, or worrying about what we don't have enough of. We don't have enough exercise. We don't have enough work. We don't have enough profits. We don't have enough power. We don't have enough weekends. And of course, we don't have enough money, ever. We're not thin enough. We're not smart enough. We're not pretty enough. We're not fit enough, or educated enough, or successful enough, or rich enough, ever. Before we even sit up in bed, before our feet even touch the floor, we're already inadequate. We're already behind. We're already losing, already lacking something. And by the time we go to bed at night, in our minds race with a litany of what we didn't get or what we don't get done that day. We go to sleep burdened by those thoughts and wake up with the daydream of lack. What begins as a simple expression of a hurried life or even a challenged life grows into the great justification of an unfulfilled life. Thought that was pretty cool, pretty powerful, and I wanted to share it with you all. Okay, moving right along. Okay. We are a nation of exhausted and overstressed adults raising overscheduled children. We think our accomplishments, our promotions, and more money will bring us meaning. But, what? Oh, I said something. But that pursuit could be the very thing that's keeping us so tired and so afraid to slow down. So many people take something at night to help them sleep, and then they drink caffeine all day to stay awake. I thought this was a great quote. This is from Dr. Brene Brown, and in her book, The Gifts of Imperfection, awesome book. I got a lot of what I'm talking about exhaustion from that, and it's a wonderful read, guys. But this is so true. Did I mention my gift certificate to Starbucks? That we all want, we all got that, right? It's huge. Okay. So I put together a list of some different things that we can do to kind of relieve some of that stress and anxiety that we feel. First, read. Many of us are guilty of shallow breathing. So the best thing we can do and the easiest, extend your exhalation. That'll in turn our inhalation, and it'll freshly oxygenate our blood, go up to our brain. Huge. Good for us. Next, disconnection from nature. Take a nature walk. Get a dog. Go outside. Reconnect. And for many people, that's the best way to connect with Source, to rebalance yourself out. Going back into nature. Toxins everywhere. Clean your house. So simple. Toxins on the floor, in the wallpaper, in our furniture, it's everywhere, right? But if we just clear the clutter and keep things as clean as possible, then we will minimize. Not enough rest, so play dead. So this is Savasana. Savasana is it's a yoga pose. It's the oldest yoga pose that there is, and so it's Sanskrit. And what you do is you just lay flat on the ground. The proper position is keep your palms up, keep your heels together, your toes flopped open. If you can maybe set a timer every day, 10, 20 minutes, and you go home on your free time, just lay down, relax. It kind of clears the cobwebs out of the
Savasana.
Yeah. What are you doing in there? Oh, I'm playing dead.
Yeah, I can see you did.
It helps you regroup, kind of rest, and then you can move on. And then information overload. Okay, guys, get grounded. In this day and age, we have media all over us, right? So if you reduce media exposure as much as possible, maybe go on a news fast. I went on my first news fast about 8 years ago. I don't even own a TV. It's so important to try to disconnect myself because we are bombarded every single day. And I know what's going on in the world, kind of, because I have the internet, and so I see the news briefs and all that stuff, but I do minimize. Okay, lack of meaning and joy. Keep a gratitude journal. And we all know what that is. I keep lots of journals, but the gratitude journal is good because if we get really pissed off or upset, sometimes opening it up, reading it, looking at, makes you smile, makes you feel good. Thinking like a pessimist, become an optimist, and leaky boundaries. Learn to say no. So, I don't want to discriminate here, but ladies, a lot of times it's very difficult for us to say no. Somebody approaches us, they ask us for a favor, I need you to do this, hey, can you do this for me? We're like, oh, fine, you know. We have to run a household, we have to be wives, we have to be career women, we have to do so much stuff, and then we take on all this more responsibility, like our plate's not full enough. And we end up resenting that person for like 6 months because we have to do that. Wouldn't it be easy if we just said, no, sorry, they would be mad, maybe for a day, they'd get over it, and we wouldn't have to carry around that resentment. Okay, resentments and regrets. That's a big one because a lot of us are carrying these resentments and regrets around for God knows how long. They're so not serving us anymore. Practice the F word. Forgiveness. Forgive. That's the wrong word. We had to just let it go.
Siobhan.
Okay, and the big one, guys. Forgive yourself. That's huge. I can forgive you. But if you don't forgive yourself, there's nothing, right? So forgive yourself. Don't judge yourself, because you're the most important person. Forgiveness is actually a deliberate and intentional act. It is a decision that restores vitality, possibility, and integrity into our lives. I thought that was a good definition. These are just some of the things that we can do to get rid of exhaustion. But why are we exhausted, you may ask? It's because we love our jobs, right? We have pretty intense jobs here. So we love them for so many different reasons, and I am going to have Dawn, really quickly, so I can keep this as interactive as possible, tell us why you love your job.
I love my job because, first of all, I love this company, ISL. I've been with them almost 10 years this year.
Yay.
So proud of that. And I love my job to come. I mean, I take a deep breath when I walk into the front doors of the Garden Court and love the management team we have there. Our executive director guides us in the most positive, uplifting way daily with just her encouragement, her management style. She is amazing. We are so, so blessed, aren't we, Marilyn?
Yes, we are.
Yes. And just helping the people through the process. Ours is a purposely built memory care community, 89 bed. And it is just helping these people through the process has just been just a magical journey for me. So thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. So, being supported is huge. Having a wonderful team is huge. The reason why I love my job, I mean, I love all that too about my team. However, what I also love about my job is when a person comes in for a tour and they so don't want to be there, right? They much rather go home, but they need to be there. They're a fall risk, they're like 90, and they need to for safety reasons. Reluctantly, they sign on the dotted line and they move in. It's a day of move-in, they're really bummed out, they don't know anybody, they're really scared, they're the new kid on the block. I get it. I try to make them as comfortable as possible, and then maybe 2 weeks later, I see them sitting at the kitchen table or the dining room table, eating lunch with their new friend, or laughing and playing dominoes. I love that. It's such a good feeling because that person would not be there if it was not for me. And that's really awesome. So that's what I love about my job. And then the phone stops ringing. The traffic stops coming in. When people show up for tours, they're just looking. Or they're looking, do you accept Medicaid? right? Or home health, they say something like that. Like, oh, we just can't get people to move in. Then the fear sets in. Fear, the constant seeking of something, the constant striving to push forward. Quite possibly, we are trying not to face our fears. If we keep moving, if we stay busy long enough, fear just can't catch up to us. But along with fear comes a whole new set of emotions. They are unworthiness, scarcity, attack thoughts, limiting beliefs, self-doubt, and negative chatter. Brings in all these other feelings for us. When we get overrun with fear, we start feeling less of a purpose, meaning, and perspective, and it becomes easy to lose hope, numb our emotions, or become overwhelmed by our circumstances. Love that quote, because well, at least for me, I get easily numb my emotions and my feelings. You know, when I leave work and I've had a hard day, you go out for happy hour, you drink, or what I do is I go on Facebook or on the internet, look at photos of like my old boyfriend's sister's ex-girlfriend. I don't know. And I spend hours just looking at and that's how I know my feelings. And I don't know, that's kind of laughter, like knowing laughter, like you guys are all on the same page. Okay, fear breeds desperation. Desperation is really a panicked response to our inner belief, okay? My inner belief that I'm a bad salesperson. Now, I've been doing this for 8 years, and I've always been really, really good. But sometimes the fear sets in, and then like, you're a really bad salesperson. That comes out. And I remember one situation, I had gone 3 weeks, not one sale. I was feeling really beaten down, and on the 3rd week, no sale, I was going to end the month at 0, and I was feeling really, really low and desperate. I got 4 retours. They weren't initial, they were retours. They all come in several times. I gave everybody a tour, awesome tours, answered all the questions, I was right on point. Perfect. Then when I asked for the sale, I sweetened the deal, and I gave them 50% off the community fee. Something ridiculous like that. Just seal the deal. Every single person declined that day. Now they wanted me. They wanted Bill and Bonita. They're like, oh, I want to go in. But they were feeling blocked because of my desperation. And I lost 2 to Sunrise, 1 to Home Health, and 1 to Paradise Village. It was an awful day for me. So I went home. It was Saturday. I went home. I cried. I dropped a different F word. I prayed, I meditated, I threw up my arms, and I said, I'm done with this.
Love her.
And I just gave up. And then, I let it go. I released it. And then 2 days later, I went back into work, and I had this idea. Maybe I should start doing a vlog. And then I thought, maybe I should start doing a support group for assisted living. And I thought, wow, and I started getting these new ideas. And then they started bringing in sales. The vlog and the support groups, they started bringing in sales. And I was like, oh, so anyway, I didn't end the month with 0 sales. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So, letting go of scarcity and fear. I went, meditated and prayed and threw up my arms, and I was just done. But there's some different ideas. You can go for a walk, you can meditate, pray, put your feet in the ocean, pet your cat, pet your dog, go visit your horse. Just do something, anything, because what you're looking for is a turnover process to find relief. And we all have different ways of doing that. Everybody's different, but definitely tap into that when you're feeling really, really beaten down. Fear blocks creativity and inspiration. That's why when I released it and I was like, I'm freaking done with this, I got the idea of a vlog. I got the idea of a support group. When you remove unnecessary emotions from the equation and you stop beating yourself up and you reconnect with your goals, you'll know what your next steps should be. Feelings of fear and desperation and anxiety and stress, worry, they can be felt. Now this is not this is not psychology. It is based on biology. It is a biological fact, guys. Okay? I don't know how many of you know this, but we have 3 brains. And this is the triune brain theory. Okay, it was started by a guy, Paul MacLean. He was an American physician, and he was a neuroscientist and an author. Brilliant guy. But he came up with this theory. The triune brain theory means 3 brains. The neocortex, the limbic system, and the reptilian complex. So the neocortex, which means new layer, limbic system, and then the reptilian complex down below. That thing that you always see brains, you see like a white shower cap looking thing. Okay, that's the neocortex. That's the newest addition to our evolution, to Homo sapien brain. And this talks a little bit about what the parts of the brain do, but what I want to talk about is the limbic and the reptilian, which would be, this is the limbic, the yellow, and the red is the reptilian. Now these are the parts of our brain, well specifically the limbic, the yellow, the part of our brain that feels emotion. It's emotionally driven, guys. Feels love, feels loyalty, happiness, joy. Does not comprehend language, okay? And this is also the part of the brain that makes decisions. And this part also makes decisions. Have you ever been sold something by a used car salesman, and they're so good, and you're like, oh my gosh, I kind of want to buy this thing. It's, the price is good, it's the right color, everything is good, but you don't feel it. You really don't, you don't feel it in your heart. You don't feel it with your gut. You don't purchase it. Because the part of your brain that understood all the language is not the decision maker. So, that's what I said, okay. Now, so you say, okay, all the facts and the figures are great, but it just doesn't feel right. So these parts of the brain, I don't want to get too technical, but our 3 parts of the brain are connected to different parts of our body. One is in our head, the neocortex, we're not talking about that. The limbic, heart, connected to the heart. The other one is your gut. It's also called the belly brain. So you have a gut instinct, you feel it in your heart, you want to lead with your soul. These are the parts of the brain that make decisions. And probably the best, simplest way to understand this is when we all go out tonight and we go get wasted. But let's pretend we did. We would take the alcohol and we would pour it right in our brain. And it anesthetizes our brain from the outside in. It'll shut off our neocortex and it'll go right down to our limbic. So maybe we'll start getting kind of goofy and we'll be like, hey, oh, you look so good, baby. I love you so much. You're the best friend ever, right? Because we're emotional. So you've heard of people who get drunk text? They drunk text? They're limbic. They're thinking with their limbic. Or you've heard of people who go to Vegas or wherever and they get wasted and they wake up the next morning.
They're married.
Oh my God, what did I do last night? Right? Because their head was shut off. And their emotions took over. And the illness also made all their decisions. Okay, oh, perfect diagram. Wow. Okay, so this is the limbic, and this right here is the R complex, the reptilian. So, going back to the other point, desperation, fear, self-doubt, and anxiety and stress, they can all be felt. So in other words, when those people came in for the retours, they wanted to move in. They were like, oh, Villa Bonita. But they didn't feel it here. I was repelling them with my desperation. Desperation is a very stinky perfume. Somebody told me that once. I think that's so true. Right? No, I would never go, I was like, would you ever date somebody who's totally desperate? No, you're totally turned off. Well, they can feel it. Okay. And this is an awesome quote, guys. I wanted to share this with you. When we want to create something that we do not yet possess. We stand inside of a place of fear, rather than come from a place of possibility. And that's so true. So, right now we've just talked about our fears and some of the different emotions and feelings that that can bring on. And by no means is this going to end it. You're going to feel it every single day of your life, right? But maybe it's going to lessen its clutches on you a little bit, and maybe now you can acknowledge it and kind of shine a light on it, challenge it, and move on, and know that they're nothing but stupid emotions, and just get rid of them. Oh, imagine if the Google geniuses had listened to their fear. Imagine where we would be right now. Okay, and this is the most important thing, guys. Always dwell in possibilities, and always embrace and bask in your magnificence.